And we live.
And we live. What's going on, art enthusiasts and change makers? This is Art for Change, and I am your host, Mr. Sexual, and my co-host.
Hey, you already know it's your boy BU, because that's all you gotta motherfucking do. And that's what you always gotta continue to do. Let's get it, man. Let's get it. I'm
Let's
excited.
get it. Let's get it, man. We got an interview with an artist, storyteller, spoken word poet, author, and journalist, and much more. Miss Kaytee Thrun, or Moon. I don't want to say her name wrong. Miss Kaytee Thrun is in the building, baby. Let's get her up.
Hey, yeah, Thrun just rhymes with
Thrun.
moon, balloon. But I start all my videos Kaytee Thrun as always, so that no one forgets my name.
And I
Oh,
still
okay.
Yeah. How you guys doing?
True art for change.
I'm doing good. I had a good, smooth day today. It was actually better than most days. What's today? Hump day? Good little hump
Wednesday.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a little hump day, you know. How was your day?
Actually, to be honest, I took a sick day. I had a little bit of food poisoning, so not the most fun topic. So I kind of took a me day. So
Okay, mental health day type thing. Yeah. Hey, Mister, how was your day?
My day was good, brother. Blessed, brother. No problems.
always.
All right, so Kaytee, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, let's start from the beginning. Like, growing up, how was growing up for you?
It was unique. My parents were artists. My mother originally was an English teacher, and my father was a florist. They opened a flower and antique shop, and he was a decorator. He did Oprah's set for a number of years, so I got to go see that. He did, weddings, funerals, and had a really good floral business in the town that I grew up in. Had a couple of wholesale businesses. Everything seemed great. And from 18, I went from riches to rags, basically, and had to start over. So, like a lot of people, I have that same childhood, kind of, like at this.
Yeah.
And was thrown out into the world. But what I did get from them was just a tremendous sense of art and literature. My father wouldn't play, a lot of music in the house. He would play soundtracks from musicals like Phantom of the Opera or something like that. And it was always very artistic and always very art driven. And he would let me do, artistic things and learn at his feet when I was a kid. So I can actually design flowers if there's ever a need for me to ever do that.
So you're a florist too? Oh shit!
I could be. I mean, I put these plants and all this together, so I mean, I could be like if I tried. But as last resort job.
At what age did you realize you had a love for all types of art?
Well, I was an only child, and we had a library in our house that I believe my parents stocked from like an auction, because it was like every older book you've ever heard of, like Dante's Inferno and Iliad and the Odyssey, and then like all these other books. So as a little kid, I would sit in there and read. And my mother had been such she was like a Catholic school educated English teacher. So she was extremely strict and gave me a really good English lesson from the day I was born. So I would sit in that library and I would read books I couldn't possibly comprehend, but I would just read and read and read. And 6 years old is the first poem I remember writing. And my father had written kind of a limerick to 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, talking about his friend's funeral home. And so I decided to write a poem at 6. And actually, it's not half bad. So 6 years old is when I started. I didn't.
I'm listening.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I continue to always be interested in art and everything, but I didn't really put my poetry out there until I was like well out of high school. 2005, 2007, I put my first 2 books out. I had some chapbooks before that. And I just kind of put them out there, sitting back, waiting for like the royalties to come flooding in. And shit, that doesn't work, right? So this time around, I played it a little bit different.
How did you? Did you write the books yourself, or like how? What's the
Yeah.
process of writing a book? What is the process of writing a book?
I write poetry every day. Something
Yes.
can trigger me, whether it's a smell or a word or a phrase or a person or a feeling will just trigger me. And I text all my poetry to myself. So I pick up my phone, I type the poem, I get to what I think is going to be the last line. I go back up, I read it, I go, oh, and I write the last line and I'm done. And I title it. I never edit, I never rewrite, and I never know what the poem is about until I'm done. I have 2 videos up online about this. I was asked to take an interview in 2022 where it's describe your creative process in 5 minutes. And I just go describe it. And I was dumbfounded because I have no idea where this ability comes from, because you could give me a word and a color in 5 minutes and I'll write you a poem. And I have no idea where that comes from. It just somehow comes out, and all the right words, and syllables spill onto the paper, and it makes some sort of odd sense, and it fits me. And yeah, I wish I could be a better teacher to other people. I can only teach them how they can write poetry. But for me, I can't pinpoint one thing that
I get what you're saying.
that tells me why it's there.
Yeah.
Everything you're saying resonates with me because I'm also a spoken word poet. So like everything you're saying verbatim, it resonates with me because it's like saying. So I know exactly how you feel with that. Go ahead, be you.
All right. How did so you're growing up and then you're doing art, and we call it art. How was that with social life, and how do you think that adjusted with social change and everything?
Growing up, I was, initially when I was very little, I was, cute. My mother put me in modeling, and then I became like an awkward kid, and I didn't have any friends really until I got into high school, and I was alternative, and then I fell into the alternative scene at that time, and that has always been a really good community, and clearly I've kind of stayed in that throughout my life. I have never had a ton of close friends, I would say, and I have found that through this process of writing and this time, going for it, right, putting things online and just doing it a little bit differently. There's friends that aren't interested in hanging along for the ride.
Okay, I get it. So I seen in your bio you said what did you say? Your glass half full goth. What does that mean?
Well, everyone uses the term, your glass half full, your glass half empty, and it's like, everyone kind of associates goth with like, death and cemeteries and emo kids like weeping sad poetry and crying and black roses and all this hot topic, all the ridiculousness, and it's really nothing like that. It's from my age group, it came from punks, but it is very much centered around all of the better beliefs in our society, whether it's peace and vegetarianism or veganism or activism. It's women's rights and BIPOC rights and everything. It's very centered around all of that, which I love, and I think most artists are. I hope most artists are, and so that's kind of the people that I've cultivated in my life, and yeah.
So all right, so wait, be a god. All right, here we go. Here we go.
All right.
Do you always wear black?
Yes.
Always. Why? Why?
I have black and white striped pants on, but other than that, I always wear black. Because I think it looks good. It looks good, and it's flattering, and you don't have to make too many decisions when you're getting dressed.
You don't have to color coordinate. It's just easy and everything.
Yeah, it's just like a macabre sensibility. Like, some people, when they say that they're goth, they say it's a music-based subculture, so that's why they're into it. But I came into it from the gothic literature side, because that's what I did as a kid. As I sat in the library and I read these books, so I fell in love with like the what I call romantically macabre. So I kind of fell in love with that little touch of darkness that isn't bad, and so there's a little hopefulness in it. It's not this sad, depressed person all the time. So glass half full obviously indicates things are good, and goth is me. So glass half full goth.
So you ever seen a little bit of light? I know you like the dark. You never seen a little bit of light?
Oh, I haven't seen a little bit of light. Yeah.
Just
I mean, there's been periods in my life where I've tried to, play a more
okay. I get it.
Traditional role, and it's just not me.
All right. So with your creative process, what are the struggles you go through that people don't see, but you make it look good? Like you make it look like it's wonderful. Like what struggles do you go through?
Time. I'm horrible at time management. I was supposed to put a book out in October. It's still not out. So my time management is terrible. This is the book. And I made a video the other day, and I'm like, hey, everybody, remember when I told you this is coming out? And it's like, this is the condition that it's in. It's a vampire graphic novel and poems. So this is supposed to come out in October. So they're, going to have to expect that I'm not always on time. I think one of the most important things that I do with my books is I make them novels and poems. So my last book, Discarding the Ragdoll, has 101 poems and 90 pieces of full color art and photography from 6 contributing artists. So what I had to do with that, so that's this thick of a book, right? So that's this book. So what I had to do with this that took me probably the longest was I had to order all the pages and all the art to tell the story. So I had to go through everything I had written, and I was reading back poems that I didn't remember writing. So I had to go through everything I had written, pick out the pieces that I liked, set them into kind of categorized piles, and then let me lean back and see, what is the story telling me? Right. Okay, so now I got an idea of what is being told. And then I started getting art from these artists. And I would love to plug the artists if you'll let me.
Yes, absolutely. Please plug them.
So cover artist is Alberto Apria. He has done work in all my books since 2005. He's Apria Alberto on Instagram. He can draw anything from a photorealistic lion to this, and comic books and everything in between. He lives in Argentina, and he's a fabulous human. So he did the cover. I had a friend from high school, Amy Kohler Anderson, who did this painting behind me. She did the chapter covers, which are gorgeous, I think.
Gorgeous.
There's 4 chapter paintings. And Alberto did a bunch of other sketches as well that I needed to kind of pair along with things that I didn't have. But the bulk of it is me. Okay, so the bulk of it is me as the photography subject, right? So The reason for that, I'm free. Okay, so I was able to get all of these pieces of the story done the way I wanted them done, just by using myself as the model. So if you go through here, there are more photographs than just straight art, but they're telling the story. They're helping to bring the reader along through the character's journey, through 4 chapters. Each poem is a story in itself, I think. Yeah. Beginning, middle, and end. And the whole book together is one giant story. So assembling that and conceptualizing that is probably the hardest thing I ever do, because I want it perfect. I want every person that opens this book and read it at the end to be like, I understood everything about that. I totally get it. And appreciate, the art that's in there, and appreciate the different people. And I do an inspiration page, not a dedication page. So there are all my artists that help me along with the project.
I love that. I love that. Okay. I love that.
Frida Gorgon in Germany did our updated logo, which is this pumpkin here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, no, this is easier. It's this pumpkin here.
Okay.
The pumpkin. So that I love. That is for our small press, October City Press. So far, it has only published me and produced me, but in 2025, we'll start producing others as well.
Okay.
Another thing that I think people don't realize is difficult is just it's you. I mean, it's definitely more acceptable now to do things indie. So, I'm an indie press, I guess, right? So small press, indie press, whatever you want to call it, it's me. I do all the work. So you have to, have your own editors or be your own editors and, do your own book design and, get all your collateral together and figure out the marketing and figure out the launch and how you're going to, sell it and stream it and what it's going to cost and all these things, all those pieces that you have to think about. I mean, if you miss one or do one wrong, you can ruin everything. So it's very stressful, like the pre-putting out a book process. But once it's out, I'm like, I love that.
It's a relief. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one took a little longer than I thought I was going to get to take out. So what I decided to do was record the entire book as an album.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do an audiobook. I'd never been like a big audiobook person. I might, maybe someday, but instead I worked with William Faith Studio. So William Faith is a very renowned goth musician for years and a friend in Chicago. So he recorded me reading all 101 poems in one sitting. And then he did the soundscapes for the background. And it was so long that it had to be chopped into 4 albums. So I've released 2 so far. So you can get my spoken word streaming everywhere. And it's the entire book. Because I get some people need to read.
You said one sitting, all of them? How long did that take?
I don't even remember. All I know is I got back to the hotel I was staying at and I've taped myself and I'm like, you're not going to believe what I just did. And I was like screaming. I'm like, I just read this entire book front to back. And oh my God, and it's so great. And I was just like, I just made this rant of a post and then I put it on Instagram, of course. And it was just exciting. And once the soundscapes were added, I'm extremely proud of that because I get that poetry is a tough read for somebody, but it's never a tough listen.
No.
So whether it's spoken word or whether it's, listening to something streaming, the way I enunciate things, the way I express myself, and if you're live, the way you express yourself can help tell the story across languages, right? So someone can stream my poetry and possibly understand it more, or I even have fans from other countries that don't necessarily understand everything I'm saying, but they're getting the appreciation of spoken poetry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
So what's your biggest obsession art-wise? Because you do a lot of different art. What's your biggest obsession?
I do. Well, in case I get super off track, it's just the ADHD kicking because I'll go around and around in circles a little bit.
I could go with it.
Yeah. So let's see. Favorite art things. I have tried so much in my life. Every year as a child, I was creating something and trying to get my parents to sell it in their store, whatever it was. Whether it was the year I was a fashion designer and took a bunch of fabric and stapled it together and made dresses. They put them up. They put them up to sell. Don't think they sold. Or there was the year that I was going to, I took those little, like for cupcakes, the little cupcake holders that are like this big, and put sugar and food coloring in it and made little edible art pieces and tried to sell them to the neighbors. So even as a kid, I was doing stupid art things. But as I grew up, the things I think that I took the most seriously were jewelry and writing. And I had a difficult time calling myself an artist most of my life because to me, art is art, two-dimensional, right? And so the word artist had, it was a compliment, it was a dignified word, and I didn't feel like I owned it.
Right.
And I had a stint for 10 years where I made jewelry. So I did fine art fairs with my jewelry outside of the street, like Wells Street Art Fair and any of those art fairs that you see out there, hustling in the heat for 10, 12 hours a day, getting heat stroke, never making enough money that you wish you would. So stopped that and went back to writing. But, I do interior design, I do decorate, I create so much of the things that I use in my work. For example, one of the things, wire wrapping crystals. Yeah, I got really into crystals, the meanings of crystals. So when I would sell jewelry, if it would have like a rose quartz in it, then I had this like little flyer I'd give them, and it would tell them the meaning of the stone, most of the medicinal meaning and like the spiritual meaning of the stone, so people can kind of look up and see what they're wearing.
I got my crystals way out here.
Yeah, you gotta lock it down. You gotta just make sure. You gotta make sure.
All right, so yeah, I'm listening.
So where was I? So I did the jewelry, then went back to writing. But it wasn't until the last few years that some people around me convinced me that, yeah, you're an artist. You get to use that word. And it might have been when I got more into the spoken word. It might have been around that time. But now I finally, for the first time in my life, feel like I own that word. And it's not because I don't, do anything artistic. Like I did, design my little pumpkin, and I do the design, in the books and everything. And, I curate how I do my shows, and if we're doing a stage show, what the theme's going to be and the decoration and everything like that. So I do put a great deal into that, into like little pieces that ultimately become something with now my writing.
You are awesome.
Pieces.
Yes.
I have so many ideas. I text friends ideas like, you should do this, because I just don't have time.
All right, so you said it was difficult in the beginning. So like what was your like biggest fear, or what is your biggest fear now?
My biggest fear now, with writing.
Okay. It's a deep question. I get it.
That's a deep question. I think my biggest fear is being able to make enough to sustain continuing, because I'm not J.K. Rowling or Stephen King or something like that, right? So I'm not getting like $1 billion checks. So you have to pay into your art if you're at a certain level. So to continue to sustain that level where I can keep putting out the books and keep trying and keep doing things that may cost money, and money you need for events that you're going to get paid for. You might spend more than you're earning on an event you're going to do just because of the exposure, and just being able to kind of maintain that so I can keep putting everything out, because I don't want to stop. I want to keep putting stuff out till I die. Then I'll transfer the rights to like someone, and there'll be thousands of videos of me online doing spoken word.
All right, so do you experience like, all right, so speaking of fears, do you experience like nervousness still, or have you gotten over it? Or,
not when I'm performing, but before, I'm kind of like a fool. So like on the way to a venue, my manager, I'll start to have anxiety. My manager will like stick me in the green room or some room, or stick me away and say, sit here and practice. And here's like, Dr. Pepper, stay. And I'll just sit in that room, and I'll inevitably go live on like IG and be like, look where I am, or something, because I'm really stressed out. And he comes and gets me when it's time to go on, and I'll walk, and inevitably there's something, and I trip and I face plant. Always. As I'm walking to the stage, on a step, on a chord, I don't care what it is. No one else falls, always only me. Shit. And then I get right up. And then I go out on stage, and the second I step on the stage, it's like,
hey, Mister, what I told Mister the same thing. I was nervous before this podcast, and I'm like, yo, but once we go live, it's like a trigger. Like,
yeah,
it's off. I'm going off after that. Like,
so So
Oh,
yeah, once I'm on that stage, it's like I did tap, I did ballet and theater, things like that when I was a kid. So I'm used to being on a stage, and right, can't always see everyone, but in smaller venues you can. But I just kind of go into this world where the story exists, and I kind of
Yeah.
guide you through it. And
yeah.
it's the most calm and like beautiful space for me. And you know, I'll usually have someone tape my performances, and I'll be listening to them back and be like, oh, I didn't hear that, or I didn't hear that clap, or I didn't hear that comment or something. Because I was just, what I was doing was I was giving you this. I wasn't taking you in at the same time.
Tunnel vision. Yeah.
Yeah. So in that sense, no, like I'm also like, like, oh, you ready to go do that? It's like, I'll do it, or if someone doesn't want to do something, excuse me, if someone doesn't want to do something and they're like, okay, who wants to do this? Who wants to call, the electric company or something boring? I'll be like, I'll do it. Like, I don't care.
Right. So I heard something earlier this week, and they said there's no bad emotions. There's just how you react to it. What does that mean to you?
I don't know if I won't say there's. Okay, yes, I will. There are no bad emotions. There are no bad emotions. There are bad actions, because you could have,
like that.
homicidal emotions towards someone, but not actually. But I think emotions are so important in all art, and I think the irony is that if you dig deep into most any, let's just take like any piece of art that like is universally loved, right? Whether it's the Mona Lisa or the Odyssey or anything. Take something that's universally loved and revered, and if you look close enough, you can see where it's weeping. All art comes from pain. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's music, whether it's poetry, whether it's any type of literature, whether it's art. If you really look and you really examine, it could be glass half full, but there's some depth of pain in everything. And I always find it ironic that we go to museums and galleries and things, and you'll see, oh, that's so beautiful, that's so wonderful, and it's like, I know that was at that artist's darkest state, and then he killed himself 6 months later, and that was all he could produce, or this is what he was feeling. And I think it's unfortunate that creative people are kind of the ones cursed with having a lot of the darkest stories and a lot of the darkest pains. But that also is kind of our obligation then to tell those stories, so that people can learn and people can be different and people can understand that people are like them and have been through things that they've been through. So it's hard. It's hard to go through, but I wouldn't have the books I have if I didn't go through the things that I went through. My books would be like, I worked at Starbucks. Like, what would I write about? Like,
Yeah. You want to read that, Mister?
Yeah. Poet says he said he likes that perspective, because he says that all art comes from love. He said you love what you do. He said he loves that you love what you do.
Oh, I love what I do, but I think that the subject matter for 100% of my art comes from some kind of pain. I mean, I can write. I did a challenge a couple of years ago with my friends. I said, everybody give me a picture or a photograph, and I'll write you a poem for it. And one of my friends tricked me, and she sent me like 18-minute classical music piece. And I was like, all right, like, well, I'm gonna try to give this a shot, right? So I listened to it, and it's like, da, 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 da. It's like up and it's down, and it's so dramatic. And I wrote this really lovely piece about this elderly woman living in her house. It's kind of like half covered in like sheets and dust, and her lover had died many years ago, and she's just kind of waiting for him to come take her on to the next place. And during the course of the poem, the house starts collapsing, and she sees him, and they dance for the first time in 80 years or whatever, and then he kind of takes her away. So it actually was a beautiful poem, But if you think about the subject, she died in the piece, right? And she was struggling, for a lot of years. So yes, love, and yes, pain, because I don't think they're not exclusive. I think that love and pain are like this. So
do you think that? All right, I'm about to do a deep dive. All right, I'm ready. Do you think
right.
that all right, so is laughter the medicine? Like happiness?
Laughter's
Or
our taught reaction
okay.
to something funny. Um, I
What about
think
happiness? Happiness, or they coincide with each other. So
I think any kind of growth. So whatever you're giving to someone, whatever they're reading, whatever you're saying, if they're getting some kind of growth or understanding or aha moment or connection moment to it,
yeah,
that's when it's a win. So I'll read pieces of mine to people I work with, and they're like, okay, I know that's about last Tuesday. And I'm like, yeah, but couldn't it be about this? And then someone else will say, oh, that could be about eating disorders. And I'm like, okay. So,
it's perspective then.
it's perspective, right? And I do like that. I play with words enough where there's, the ability to have a little illusion in there and kind of create and relate the story to give it the most meaning to the person that's reading it. I want them to do that. I don't want them to literally, line by line dissect my piece and try to figure out where I was last Tuesday. That's kind of boring. Because there's a lot of fantasy in there too. There's dragons and bones and all kinds of things that don't exist in there. So I think just love and pain, the collision of love and pain.
All right, so
maybe is the foundation
maybe.
of art.
Yeah, okay. All right, so I watched you for a while before I wrote you to get on. You call people human, like that's
human.
That's what you call them. Like you call them like human. Yeah. Is there a reason why? Like
there is constant change.
Yes.
In everybody's belief system and ideology around what and who they are. If you see like a heavily tattooed guy in the street, in your head you're going to think heavily tattooed guy, and that's going to become his nickname to you until you learn his name. Right? So in the last couple of years there's been a lot of discussion too, so I just kind of want to skip that whole narrative and say, like, I don't really care what you are trying to be called, or just whoever you are, you're fine. You're human. I know that much. Okay. Lovely humans, lovely inhabitants of the earth. That is universal. That covers everyone equally. And unless they've got their dog watching with them. But, I don't want to presume anything. I don't want to offend anybody. I just.
Yeah, you are who you are. Be you. That's it.
I love that analogy.
Mister, I'm listening.
No, I just said I like the way she thinks.
All right, so I got a question. Your bio says bitch. The V word, bitch. Can I say bitch? Mister? I already said it. All right, so your bio says, You want to see bitch? You want to see bitch? No, your bio says that, and we spoke about this prior. Why does it say that though?
I'm a total bitch. Like, especially if you saw me on like a show night, like I'll be like, get me that or get me that. But at certain times you have to own that and understand that's okay. But my mother was a bitch. I'm a bitch.
Oh shit.
But I take it as a compliment. I mean, I take it as a compliment. I can fight for myself. I can stand up for myself. And it doesn't bruise me to death. So. I like that. You want to hear?
I want to hear something. Yeah, I want to hear it.
Unbothered dirt.
Okay.
With bare feet on the earth, after ditching those high heels, one single victory after playing spiked tongues with red fiends, Turns out the devil was short, and therefore my life shrank too, until sinking so low to dig in the dirt with my claws to uncover the true nature of danger in your tornado of lies. So your punishment was utter humiliation, as Diablo prized his pride. In the public square, so meticulously crafted, this exercise of defeat in private, no, never. Tempt me again, as even withered, it appears my fight is quite orchestrated, like a symphony of fingers playing music dirt under my nails. Giving up appears to be something never learned, and that my souls cherish as they take a step through unbothered dirt.
Hey.
Hey.
That's a little bitch, right?
Hey, yeah, that's a little bitchy. I ain't gonna lie to you.
All right, I love that one.
Hey,
That's
am I supposed to snap or clap? I don't know. How
I don't think anyone knows anymore. Honestly, when you go out, I don't think anyone knows anymore. I think either one's great.
These are snaps. These are snaps,
Yeah.
baby. Snaps, baby. Yeah.
But that I definitely like that one.
Hey, I like how you just did that. Like how we just worked that out. You just
turned it on.
Yeah,
just turned that shit on. Yeah.
Oh, so
I told you. Ask. Just keep going.
Hey, so you TTG then? You know what that means?
No.
Train to go. You just own it. TTG.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, if you were to call me and be like, you have to do a show tomorrow night for 20 minutes, and this is the theme, I would go, okay, what am I wearing? You know, because I would already have the content because I write so much, and I would just have to put it in the right order. You know.
Right. Yeah,
I'm ready to go.
Put it up there. Yeah.
I'm ready to go. Ready.
All right. So, you ever been to the hood?
Which one?
like with niggas. Like you ever been to like a hood, like a regular hood?
Yeah.
Like so how is that? Like, was it often or you just been?
I mean, there's a lot of open mics in the South, and the South suburbs, but I have a group of friends that already know me. So I guess in those type of scenarios, if I go to them, even if I go to them alone, I'm welcomed by someone like maybe the host that knows me, and it maybe, at least I would hope, makes people think that I could do something good. I mean, you know, there's a typical style of spoken word that a lot of people do, and obviously I'm not that. You know, I'm like the exact opposite of that, and so I surprise people. But I think that once they do hear me speak and do talk to me and do, you know, hear my stories, they know I get it. They know I get it. And by the way, I've lived in the hood, so
Oh shit! Oh yeah!
So, come on. At 18, I had a bag of clothes. I had a king size bed sheet with stuff, and a trash bag of clothes. Knocking on my friend's door in Chicago, going, "Can I sleep in your den?" Which was like this by this. You know, I mean, I yeah. And that's what I think is great about my writing is that it's like I've been through so many different high and low points throughout the course of my life that I could add a little bit of the good into even a really bad story, or vice versa.
Yeah, your energy is very, very good. It's dope. Hey, poet, I'm reading Here He Go. All right, Mister, you got to take over because poet, hush. Mister, take over.
Of course, anytime, brother. Hey, so Miss Kaytee, I got a question. I got a few questions for you as well. My first question would be like, can you discuss the importance of the authenticity of your work and how you try to stay true to your voice within all your columns of work?
I asked ChatGPT the other day who I was. It knows me. And then I asked ChatGPT to write a poem in my style. It doesn't know me very well. It was horrible. It was just like 20-line, overly rhymed thing that kind of threw in a bunch of words from my website, but it is a little terrifying. So I'm very tuned in to know what I write. I had a friend that played a trick on me and read me a very long poem he had written. And I'm like, gosh, these things sound familiar. And he's like, let me give it to you to edit. And I edited it back to the way that I originally wrote it. And he had copied it and put it in a piece. So I think my voice is just inherently that way. And I don't know why, even in normal speech, I pause and I emphasize, and I'm a little theatrical in my everyday life. And that's probably just how I was raised, so, on the page and when I speak, I don't know.
We got some people that's blown away that you said Chat GPTs know me. They said GPT knows me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right.
that's weird.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you like try it, try it, and it'll say like, oh no, that's because I tried it with other people too to see like if it was everyone, and it's like, no, that must be a personal person I don't know. But like with me, it's like, I'm like, shit, I don't even have a Wikipedia.
Hey, we're gonna get you on Wikipedia, goddammit. Hey,
I don't know with like this Chat GPT and shit if I even need one. Like it is so freaky. Like I screenshot it. Let me see. Where was it? Because I posted it on everything. I'm like, look, everybody, look, ChatGPT wrote a poem for me.
Hey, Larry, hey, you'll be scared to chat GPT me, Larry, be you.
I didn't say it.
he said he'd be scared to check and see himself. So he'll have to go off grid and have to find if they know him.
Yeah, and the thing is like if you tell it things about yourself, it'll incorporate that into your bio, which is even creepier. Because I said one word, and then the next time I asked who is Kaytee Thrun, it came up with a slightly different answer with my word in it, but it said it was a renowned Chicago poet, which I thought was wonderful. I don't know where I got that from, but I loved that.
So let me ask you, how has your work evolved over the years, and like, what is your new direction that you're going in?
Obviously, as a teenager, an alternative teenager, I had a lot of sad, whiny love poetry about broken hearts and, bullshit, right? The older I have gotten, the more I kind of took a stance with a poem I wrote called All My Photographs Tell, which is basically every photograph I have is a story of mine whispering to be spoken. So it's either a piece of my life that I've pulled, and now I think I'm old enough to have, the vision to see what really was and wasn't important,
right?
And what did and didn't matter. And I mean, I wish I could tell you more on my process. I wish I could tell you more about how I do things, but literally I just do it. And even when I'm, you mentioned journalism, and obviously I started doing that actually for fun. I've interviewed friends' bands, and then it kind of became a thing. And I'm a poetry editor for Nocturnazine now, and it just kind of rolled into something. But I can do that very kind of classic journalist voice from the English teaching that I received from my mother when I was young, which is why I can also do like business writing and like writing in school and things like that. So I can drop it down to like, get me those KPIs before EOI or blah, blah, blah is going to be what I can do that. Right. But I would prefer to do this. I would prefer to write poetry.
Poet.
He said, poet says that my grade school English teachers would say, poet, you're such a good writer. But can you talk about anything other than love? I guess he says he can relate that he used to talk about love growing up as well.
You know Eros? Do you know Eros? The Prince of Poetry?
Poet. Yes.
Yeah.
Poet.
He's the love poet. He's the love poet. Every piece is like honey drip. That's like that's all his pieces, right? So, I mean, and sometimes that's people's vibe. I mean, the two ladies that I perform with, I told you I had too many ideas. So like a year or 2 years ago, I decided I want to like, let's make a band, right? Okay, so let's make an ensemble, right? And you know, I would go to these shows and I would always see more men than women, especially performing. And I'm like, let me find strong female poets that want to perform with me, and we can see what we can do. And I found originally there were 5 of us. It quickly became 3 of us after our first show.
Is that the
And
Poetica?
yes, that's the Poetica.
Yeah, I looked that up. Yeah, I seen it. Okay.
And it's with now Dr. Faith C. Rice and Shalay Lorraine. Shalay I've known for, 12 years. The day I met her, we both found out we were each poets. And I'm like, I'm going to do something with you one day, because she was really scared. She said she put a video on YouTube once and got 30,000 clicks, and she was terrified. And I'm like, we're going to do something one day. You trust me. So I asked her. She's my optimistic poet, so she usually goes first because she gets everybody kind of happy. And then Faith is, Faith lived a life, right? So she can talk hardship. She always talks love as well, but sometimes in a very, but I'm the one in control kind of standpoint, So she and I will swap going second and third, and then I'm just kind of like, I don't know, romantically macabre, different, an experience.
That's that's me. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know where I fit in. I just do it. Fuck it.
Well, I started this group, because one, I wanted more women to perform and perform confidently. Because usually when I see women get up there, they might be like, kind of like it's their first or second time, and they're like,
they're reading shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we performed at the Moonlight Theater, the Otherworld Theater a couple of times. We've done different events and taken them seriously. Like theater events, and costumes and themes and things like that. Because we're able to do an hour-long show, because usually we each do like 20 minutes and then we'll have an open mic, and that's a show that you could produce at any theater. Whereas a lot of spoken word models or a lot of spoken word poets, if they're alone, what do we get? 20 minutes at the most somewhere, if for a feature. So you can't really ever kind of barter your way into some of those higher experiences. So I just thought, let me give it a shot. So I've got 2 theaters so far that we've been in 3 times. And
which is amazing. Yes.
Yeah. And they're absolutely amazing women. I'm hopefully going to put Shalay's first book out very soon. Faith has a book called She Dragon, which is amazing. And she's coming out with She God very soon. Her book's on Amazon and everywhere else. So are mine. But, we may perform a few times a year together, but we're also a support system for each other. And, we're going to try to go to the New York City Governor's Island Poetry Fest together and have a booth. And, just trying to support each other. And we're all like independent, strong women. We've been through some shit. We've gotten through some shit. We're still alive. So we're doing okay. And we're not half bad poets, right? So together, the 3 of us can demonstrate again, too, to other women who might be afraid to get up or might be afraid to talk, depending on what their topics are, that it's, I have poems about, this is going on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I have poems about being raped. I have poems about people who are no longer alive, unalive to themselves. I'm just trying to use the YouTube words. So, I can get into very unpleasant things too. They're real stories.
Right. Let me ask you, what challenges do you see being a woman in a predominantly male atmosphere?
no one thinks that I can do anything until I do it. Absolutely no one. There's clusters of like spoken word groups throughout the Chicago area, and it's interesting. But I've gone to like open mics like for the first time, and I didn't know that. Well, here's 20 more people, right? Here's a chunk of people I didn't know, right? So you'll meet that chunk of people. And I've gone to those before, and there's well dressed, and I'm a professor, and I'm a this, that, and it appears very kind of professional, and most of them read and everything like that. And so then I get up there and just kind of do something. This one place, it was a open mic at Tangible Books. A gentleman named Carl runs it, and I went in and I did like one or two pieces, and he goes, "Do you want to feature next week or next month or whatever?" I think it was monthly thing. And I'm like, "All right." And it was like I hadn't been to an open mic in a long time, right. So but he was like, "You want to feature next week?" And I did. I did an Alice in Wonderland theme set.
Yeah. Look at that. Because you awesome. Because you dope.
Yeah. But I would say organization's a huge problem for me because I am, very kind of scattered with a lot of thoughts and a lot of ideas and a lot of things to do at once. My train of thought has 10 projects started, which is good and bad.
So your mind just be running.
Oh yeah, like I never sleep. Like I sometimes don't sleep at all. I sometimes sleep 4 hours because I'm, online doing something. Because I personally, when you decide to actually make this a business,
mm-hmm.
it becomes something different. And I'm not I don't have like a trust fund or something like that. So I'm my own social media manager. I'm my own, I answer my own email. I do my own, shops, and I ship my own stuff, and it's all just me. So there's always something coming up to get paid, to get done, to get reordered, to get fixed. I do the websites. I know the Poetica website has to be updated. I know that. But that's a lot of pressure too. To take away from the things that you need to do, to have to just go do some busy work that you wish you had an assistant for. Oh, I wish I was rich and I had an assistant. Nice, like full-time assistant.
One day you will. It's coming.
Hey, you can't rush greatness. You can't rush greatness.
Hey, look, you wearing a lot of hats, Queen, and we proud of you.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, boo. Yeah, I feel it.
Absolutely. Hats off for you in the building. So what themes do you find yourself gravitating to whenever you are in your writing?
It depends on the time. The first book I wrote, called Theories in Lucid Dreaming, was 100% a result of my engagement being broken up. So had a now hilarious situation with someone I'm glad I never married. But I was hurt at the time, so I wrote my first poetry book. And I FedExed him a copy and said, "Thanks for the inspiration." And since then, he has blocked me and hid from me his whole life. That's fine. But that book did surprisingly well. And it was just a very kind of, in my opinion today, too kind of, I want you back sappy, right? Too much of that. And that's not like the person that I ended up becoming. My second book is a novel. I really wanted to see if I could write long fiction. So it is a young adult vampire novel called Notes from the Ghostwriter. And I wrote it kind of like poetry. I wrote 226 questions, and I answered one question a day, and that eventually became the book. And this is the prequel to it. So I tried fiction. Guess what? I'm not good. I need better editors. I'm not good, right? No.
So that's the book you showed us earlier that you was like, I procrastinated.
Well, the prequel, yeah, because this is going to be this I've been working on. Alberto did the art for this, the guy from Argentina. Yeah. And I mean, we worked on this for like 7 years to get this done.
Okay, that's fire. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
I wrote Where is that? Oh, hang on one second. I'm going to grab something to show you. When I was younger,
Hey, she dope.
I published my own chapbook. And it was basically this 10-minute poem I had written in college. So this is it, called Pebbles and Hot Soup. And I took that picture. And so it's this like 10-minute poem, right? And I knew I would always do something with it. So what I did with this is, if you look at the pages, the in column text, like in a comic book, is that poem broken up into little pieces. And then every so often you have pages from her journal, which are full poems. So all throughout there's poetry. This one is really dark. It's very much around like the early 90s Chicago punk scene and some of the characters that were there and vampires, because it's a graphic novel and why not? But there's definitely things that I think people will recognize once they read it that are still in the area. But I love this book. It is dark. It is riddled with drugs, sex, betrayal.
Oh shit! All that. Hey,
I mean,
I'm about to start wearing black.
So it's not it's definitely an R-rated comic or R-rated graphic novel. I would say.
I need more black clothing. I like all that.
But that is definitely going to come out. So that'll be something else I've never done. I never did a graphic novel and poems. I don't think anyone has. So that'll be a new thing. And then I'm writing another just like poetry book with art called Bats in the Rafters. And that is going to be a lot like past stuff and like growing up stuff. No, they shouldn't have replaced him. No, they shouldn't. And she's weird. She's like a Scientologist. No. No, that's silly.
That wasn't a good one, huh? Nah.
They found out weird stuff about her, and it's like I mean, if it's a band that is extremely reliant on the lead singer for the majority of their success, and that person is unalived in some respect, you can't replace them.
Yeah. I agree with that.
You can't take like Prince in the Revolution and have like Sally in the Revolution. Like it's not the same thing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So.
All right, Mister.
Let me ask you, how do you balance all of these roles? You're an artist, unapologetic spoken word artist, you're a journalist, you're an author, you do visual art. How do you balance all this in these roles? And I know that you also have a day job.
Yeah, I do have a day job. Got to pay the mortgage. I, like I said, never sleep.
So hold up, you say you never sleep. You take naps? That's it?
Well, I'll sleep like maybe 4 hours a night or something. But I can relate. All right. I have an insatiable desire to try everything I haven't tried artistically. And there were periods in my life where I was kind of over here, maybe in a relationship doing something else, and art wasn't really a part of it, So there's years I feel like I missed, but I can retrieve them because I have the content, right? Okay. So I balance. I have 2 calendars. They conflict often. I use a lot of checklists when I'm, packing for shows or for things like that to make sure I have what I need. But I want in our business there to be multiple lanes, where we could have potential success. Because there's things like I know I am never getting rich off of these. I am never, as pretty as they are, I am never getting rich off of print books. That is unless you're Stephen King and it's 1980, you're not making extreme money in book selling. It's just not the same as it was. And that's fine, because then all of those poems go, with me, and they go online and they become spoken word pieces and they become part of my album, which I stream. People stream more than they read. and they become part of my sets and part of my shows and everything like that. So they get out there, just in a different format. So I had to come up with other lanes that would give me some financial success. You wanted me to mention I wanted to tell you about the poetry brothel.
Yes.
There's this event I did called the Poetry Brothel, and the Poetry Society of New York is wonderful. I wish we had that here in Chicago. They do such great work, and they do these events called poetry brothels. And I didn't totally know what it was when I got hired to do it, but I was like, all right. So you go into kind of you buy tickets like for any event. It's at a bar with a kind of a speakeasy vibe. And there's poets kind of dressed like you're at a brothel, kind of.
Hold on, hold on. I'm lost though. Hold on, what's the brothel?
A fancy old-fashioned name for whorehouse.
Oh, okay. All right, I got it.
So brothel sounds better. So brothel, you might have like a lingerie set and just given a dirty poem or whatever. And so that they come on and off stage, and then the guests have coins and they'll get a private reading from a poet. And then there was a tarot card reader there. And then I was there doing custom instant poetry. So I didn't do that part. And it was totally all legal. Don't let anyone think the word brothel meant anything else. But it was like a sultry, seductive type of poetry event. So I that was a surprise for me because I hadn't done something like that before. But I did custom instant poetry, which is something I also do. I've done it at events. I've done it at weddings. I did it on Christmas Day to strangers in Chicago. I just ask a couple questions and write them a poem on like pretty parchment paper with flowers and give it to them. And
all right, so you brought up tarot cards. You do tarot cards? Do you do readings? Are you like that deep in, or like?
No, I think tarot cards are beautiful. And when I was younger, I did study them, like the major arcana. I think it's pretty to do readings with those. And I have several decks just because of the artwork. I used to know how to do it. I don't anymore, but like I love to get my cards read. I had an Uber driver the other day that he's like, "Oh, I remember you," and he says a couple things, and I knew he knew who I was. He's like, "I read your palm last time. Give me your hand." So I'm like, "Okay." So the Uber driver's reading my palm. He's like, "Something significant happened 5 years ago that turned your life 180," and it's like, okay.
It was on point.
So on point. So on point. My entire life. It coincided like with the COVID era, but I always make a joke, like the Spider-Verse, right? There's like a billion Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like we just slightly shifted into like another verse, and everything's the same except these three things are weird. All right.
Right.
Because significantly worldwide weird stuff has happened since COVID that was never a part of our reality before. I'm still gonna maybe have that one conspiracy theory.
Hey, Mr. Pop-Up Roxanne comment.
We had her comment up. She said that she was creatives never sleep. You are fantastic, and I'm glad that you put your all into poetry.
Well, I feel like I'm sleeping, that I'm going to miss something, or I'm going to forget something, or not going to get everything done, or I'm going to fall behind, or I have ideas I want to think through, and it never stops.
All right, so I got a question, because I'll be watching you. What did you do on Christmas? Last Christmas, what did you do?
Well, I have no blood family except for like a third or fourth cousin who is one of my closest friends, Susan Justice. She's also a poet, ironically. And, my manager's family is in Arizona. We went down to Chicago and I did custom instant poems for people that were alone or on the street as Christmas presents. I feel awkward explain. It's like awkward to explain. Like
I seen it. I watched it.
Yeah. So like one guy we got was on leave from the Navy. He had just finished boot camp. And he was all alone in the city. So I did one for him. There was a guy we bought Subway for, and I really liked that interaction. And I wrote him a piece. So yeah, it was fun. I just kind of did on the spot poetry for, Christmas presents because I had nothing else to give. And we didn't have anywhere to be. So we stayed at our favorite hotel with the people that know us and just kind of went out and tried to give people something on Christmas that didn't have anything on Christmas.
How did that make you feel?
Really good, actually. It was cool. I was like hesitant at first, like, how do I just what do I just do? Just go, I'm going to write a poem for you. And it's like, you have no idea you might know how open people are. If you go up to them and are like, can I write a poem about you or something, or draw your picture? People are like, yes, 100% of the time. I don't know why.
Yeah.
They should be more careful.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I found this guy, he was walking down this like the entrance before a restaurant, and a woman had yelled at him like far ahead, and he's kind of walking slow. And that one is still up on Instagram, and I did a piece for him, and he's like, you might have just saved me, because I kind of added in a little love to that one.
I think I've seen that one.
I might have saved his relationship on Christmas. Don't hate that. Don't hate that at all.
Yeah,
it was good.
And then that brings you happiness, like, because you could be going through something, and then you bringing happiness to other people makes you get through whatever the fuck you're going through.
Well, what was I going to do? Sit there and be like, okay, I'm alone on Christmas. Nobody invited me. And it's like, I understand when I heard a quote years ago, and I wish I could remember who it was by, but I can't find it anywhere. And it basically is, if everyone you know is sick and tired of hearing about your dream, you're doing it right.
Yes.
And the reality is that when you have good friends and you start to be someone different and try to do something, you're going to lose friends. Yeah. I lost my best friend of my whole life, because some people just like the old version of you. Maybe liked the dynamic, maybe don't want to be outshined. It could be 100 reasons, right? But people you wanted to, follow you in the journey, they bail. And you meet a lot of new friends, but a lot of them are in some kind of entertainment. So while you're close, there is still a little bit of a fictitious wall. Yeah. And those aren't the people that invite you to Friendsgiving, right? So it's challenging, I have a lot of friends, but as far as the close type of friends I had before that I would have done something maybe on Christmas with, unfortunately are gone for the most part. And, working on the chosen family.
All right. Speaking of quotes, I got a quote for you. Remember to thank those who inspire you. Who said that? That's you.
That's me. That's my quote.
That's your quote, right? Remember?
Yeah.
And what does that mean to you?
That's why it's at the top of this page, my inspirations page.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to dedicate a book to to my late mother and my dog and my cousin Uno, from Florida, who lost his leg, and to God, and to the kid who rode his bike down my street, and the mailman, and everyone at Universal Records. I don't know, whatever. Some stupid long dedication of people you don't know or care about. Okay.
I like her.
So I realized that I'm not dedicating my book to anyone. It's my book, but I was inspired by people.
Yes.
Okay. And so I think that's more important. So this is for Alberto. This is something he drew. He did the covers. This is the girl that did our logo. This is Maud's son, which is a musician that is not goth, but I absolutely adore, and I've interviewed before. Johnny Perkins, photographer. Amy Kohler, the one behind me. Frida did the logo. Nathan James, who is most well known as a celebrity photographer, but also is a new metal artist right now. And then I had a girl make custom dolls, rag dolls that we sold in a bundle. So I think it is more important to acknowledge someone that they inspired you than to blindly dedicate a book to like everyone in your family and your dog.
Okay.
I want specific people to know that they had an inspirational impact on me with their art, whatever it was.
Yes.
And that's the definition of our podcast, actually. Definitely. Mister.
Can you share a piece that really impacted your audience? And what did that feel like?
There's one I always get mixed reviews on. Some people take it, you can take it two different ways, I guess. So, but it's one of my favorite pieces, so I'll just do that. It's called Reddest Wine. Reddest Wine. Each drop of my blood is a universe. Microscopic world spitting in red wine. My eyes get drunk on you in seconds. Drops bleed into your empty glass, each sip taming the other in more ways. Clinking crystal makes hollow sounds like empty bones struck together, the melody of the cracking branches. You drink me deeply in intoxicated blood. Lips redden off the glass rim shine wet. You seem to be the only one to notice.
Mm. Mm.
So some people take some people take it sexy.
I got a
Some
question. You make this. Well, I got a compliment. You make short poems sound powerful.
Thank you.
Like it's powerful. It's like short. You ain't gotta draw it out. You ain't gotta do nothing. It's like straight to the point. It sounds powerful.
No matter what I do,
I like that.
No matter what I do, everything is 30 seconds to 2.5 minutes at the most. Everything I do, and I don't know why, but collectively they make a chapter in a book, right? Mm-hmm. So they're telling a whole story arc, and each of the pieces of that arc individually has its own story. And I mean, I'm a storyteller, so that's just the medium that I do it in, and I like short and sweet, get to the point, something that's digestible. I did a show. Anyone else feel like a spell was just put on them? I mean, oh, from the poem.
Yeah, from the poem.
Oh, I can do way worse than that.
I like controversy. I like that. We can do more.
All right. Now I'm trying to think of what I got.
Hey, put a spell on us. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Oh.
Hey, I want you to get deep. Like get to the gritty.
Okay. Before we get through this, I don't mean for her to get deep because you all be you. But before we get through this, tell people where to find you, Mama. Why they searching you up? Why you on here now? Tell listeners how to look you up. Tell the listeners how to look you up.
Literally just Kaytee Thrun. Like literally just Google my name, and you'll get to every link. I've got a link tree. So if you're in any of my social medias, you'll have the link tree there. And the link tree is actually more important to me than any individual site I have because it's cumulative. So it'll have like a list of my shows where you can buy tickets. It has both my album streaming. If you click on it, it'll take you to, Spotify, whatever you want to go to. It's got all the ways to find my books. It's got all my official sites in my shop. And then it's got like videos, samples, and, journalism and all kinds of stuff, so it gets you to everything. Instagram's my main, like, daily up-to-date channel. but I have the most content on YouTube. I have like 300 spoken word videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes, you're
This is
Googling me. Are you Googling or ChatGPTing me? Yeah.
I love that. Now, B, what you were saying, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother.
hey, no, I want her to hold the hell up. Hey,
Thanks,
all right,
Roxanne.
so hey, hold up. I want her to get deep, like, cause he talked about spell. I want you to get deeper. That's what we was talking
Like
about.
something like a spell, like let me think. I
Because
mean,
what do you say? Anybody else felt like a spell was just put on them? It's entertaining.
spell. I mean, I'm reading like I could like a bunch of these could work. Okay.
I know it means something. When you take a deep breath, I already know. It's like, okay, it means something.
I'm just trying to figure out what is going to be. Okay.
Roxanne said she's fire.
Thank you. All right. This one I know 99% by heart, so I'm just going to pull the page out just in case I need it.
Okay.
But this is a piece that I absolutely love. And I did a metal fest a couple of months ago where I read in between each of the metal bands, and I did this one and it killed. So this is a good one. Okay. It's called Metal Handcuffs on Concrete. Oh my gosh, I need glasses for this if I'm going to read.
Yeah, throw the glasses on. With
Right,
the chains on it. Yeah, I like that.
All right, so Metal Handcuffs on Concrete. Quite many of my lovers have been destroyed when dreamt of. Curious passions of clumsy hands or one's bruising shoulder blades. Blissful daydreams that witched into nightmares like cold drip poison. Wondering just when it started to invade you and even change a cell. Tethering you to bad moments too long. Handcuffed to dead lovers. Wrists cut and screaming red, bleeding until you wither them free. What narrative script? Which exits next? With vicious words or rising shoulders. Having tasted curious passion and dragged the corpse of a dead lover. Scars left on my wrist. Scribbled red ink and wiped memories. What is left of my dead lovers clang behind me? Metal on concrete. Like that.
Like I'm still trying to figure that out. You say so much, and like, hold on, I gotta snap the fingers too. You say so much and like so little at the same time, but it's just I gotta call it powerful.
Thank you.
I love how she always do her last line, give you that punchline just to end it like,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
There's one I just wrote. I wonder if I know it by heart. Let me think.
No. Let me ask you. Why you trying to remember? Let me ask you. How do you go through your process of remembering your pieces?
Listening to myself.
Yes.
It's the only way. If I have a set that I'm going to do, I record the whole set and then I just listen over and over because I'm an auditory learner. So it's always going to sink into my head. And I did write it. So hopefully I should know it. But I can remember like a 30-minute set, but I can't remember a single 10-minute poem. It's weird. Right. It's like chopping it up into the pieces. I can definitely remember it a lot better. Yeah, but 30 seconds. Reddest Wine is probably one of my shortest ones. But a minute and a half is weirdly average for some reason. I do have one on IG right now that's like 2.5 minutes. It's called Switchgrass.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, she has some fire poetry. So
Yeah.
if you're new here, and you are interested in poetry, you need to go follow Miss Katie because she's a dope,
I
unapologetic poet.
Thank you. I always did my readings here for the most part, but I've really kind of started doing them anywhere, and had some really cool results in like how the videos turned out. Just some
Yes,
more artistic things that I've been playing with, and I think that that helps a lot. Um, because it's I mean it could be boring just watching me sit here for like a minute and a half, but if I'm like out somewhere or like the lighting is cool or it's dark and I'm doing something half from memory, it takes on a different vibe.
It,
absolutely.
it also takes like one fucking video to go viral.
I know.
And then,
I everything I post is done in like one or two tries.
yeah.
That's it. Every single thing. I don't really believe in the concept of editing because, whatever I felt unconsciously when I wrote it, I want to be authentic. And then when I read it like spoken word the first time, that's when I kind of develop my rhythm for it. And I want that experience. And that together is what that piece means to me.
That's
Yes.
why we go viral because I feel the same way. Because hey, whatever I say, I can't take it back. Hey, hey, you go get it. Hey, so
Well,
yeah, I love it though, and it makes you be more punctual. It makes you get on your shit. To me,
yeah. And I mean, I've had pieces, that at first on any social media, when you start growing, um, there's a point at which you're like that shock moment hits where you're like, I have a lot of followers and I have this responsibility and I have to keep this, kind of running in a certain way. And
Yes,
I can't believe that many people saw my stuff. And it's very, you don't know what to do with it at first.
right.
It can be overwhelming. It's like my friend Shalay Lorraine, 12 years ago, got 30K out of YouTube and was like scared away from poetry for a while.
Right.
And I had to get over that fear really quickly because I get some ridiculous views on my pieces, especially on Instagram, that not like viral, not like 5 million, but like 500,000 or 200,000 or 100,000 or something. So I had to get used to it really quick that a lot of people were consuming, even if it isn't the whole piece. It's a short piece, so there's a chance they're reading the whole, listening to the whole piece. But that a lot of people are consuming it, and it all starts with me saying my name in the correct pronunciation at the beginning. Kaytee Thrun
yeah,
as always, so they know. And I get, I hope I'm not cursing myself with this, little on the negative kind of feedback side online. I get
Right.
some weird comments like, you look like a ghost, or are you evil, or are you a witch, or like I get some weird stuff like that. But um, nothing.
Speaking on that, how do you handle criticism and feedback?
I mean, it depends what it's on. Like if someone is critical of a poem I've written and I like, I'm going to
Yes,
defend it to the 10th degree. I don't
absolutely.
care because that's what I wrote. Um, if I'm shaky on it, I'll probably just toss it and never use it. Uh, I want criticism. That's the thing, is I want criticism uh, in a respectful way. And you usually can't get that on social media. Like I had one guy on YouTube that said, I don't like your videos. And I said, okay, but thanks for the engagement and watching them.
Exactly.
You
Right.
know,
and,
it's
and he gonna keep
like
watching.
yeah, he made a point of stopping to tell me he didn't like my videos while in the middle of watching my videos. So thanks for the engagement points you gave me. Um,
Exactly.
I love him because like I ain't. This is why I reached out to you because I ain't seen no videos like that before. So I'm like, this is different. different is
like
good.
mine.
Yeah, like different is good. Different is good. So yeah, I'm like, all right, let's get her. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Well, I obviously have a lot more time where I can do spoken word just wherever I am, like at home or if I'm around. The
Yeah,
performance, like stage kind of opportunities are like they're spread out. So I don't want to only post those. I try to post every other day at least.
Right.
Consistency.
And I keep kind of like a curated like 130 to 150 max
Mm-hmm.
videos. So if they really want to like see what I've done and see some podcasts and events I've done, and they can get a nice little curated chunk,
Yeah.
and then the
I
ones at
love
the top are always the new ones. And then I fill my stories full of like pictures and print poems. And yeah,
all that
I
It's,
just
good stuff.
want
Hell
content
yeah.
out.
And you have a lot of content out, man. And I
I
love
share a
what you
lot.
do. Keep doing what you do, and it's definitely going to pay off.
Yeah, I have a
You
stupid amount of
already
content out there.
you're already filling up theaters. You know what I mean? You can be filling up stadiums and all that. Yes, headlining, all that good stuff. I'm
Dang.
proud of it. Go ahead,
Can I
brother.
read one, or actually not read one, but do one for a friend of mine,
Man, you can do everything you want to do on here. It's art for
for
change, mama.
Chiquita? Okay.
Yes, do one for
My friend
Shakira.
Chiquita's favorite piece. It's from my book, Discarding a Rag Doll, but it is also like a favorite that I do at shows. It's called Black Parasols. Nightmares, or possibly fortuitous dreams, each late sunset have me just slow pace strolling down an old boardwalk. Lace parasol twisting in my fingertips and spinning in circles above my cerebellum. Impossibly tiny warm raindrops speckle my shoes, but who counts them all, not me? This walk seemed necessary to move beyond and forward. Still hearing echoes, though, sometimes, don't lie, we still do. Each cut or bruise or unkind word showed us their demons, trying to claw their way into our world through scratches and vicious bites. Every sunrise to sundown stay too long still haunts us. The exaggerated play we had to act out to secure back our hearts was dramatic but worthy. We once wanted to crush those dry, broken hearts in our bare hands, for they held too much ache. But in the warmth of this downpour, the water is on my face and cleansing me, washing away the stench of you and the poison that always dripped from your lips. For once in my life, this flood is not tears, just raindrops escaping through my spinning black parasol.
Okay, I like that right there. That must have been written after a breakup. I like that.
No, that was written recent because that's in this last book, but it's very much like a moving on decision piece, and
Definitely moving on.
I get the good ones
I,
at. So
I done renewed myself, done watched myself new of you. What are you saying? Yes.
well, if you give me like a topic, give me like a topic maybe that
I
has
can give
something
you
on
a
it.
topic right now.
Okay.
All right. What do you watch daily, or like what is your go-to watches, or like TV shows or movies? Like what? That's a topic.
I okay. Let me preface this by saying I don't really watch TV
Okay.
at all. Like, um,
All right. I got a topic.
I watch some movies. I like prefer to go to the theater and watch them. Honestly, it's more fun.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'll mostly play YouTube on my TV, honestly, because
Me too.
I a little so I have a quicker attention span, and I can get through a lot of content too. I also spend a lot of time on there, and I have searching for spoken word poets. Where are they all? Why aren't they
Yes.
there?
All right. So with that being said, all right. So you got a dark side. So if there's a purge, 24-hour purge, we spoke about, that. If there's a purge, what would you do?
Purge. Oh shit.
Yeah.
I mean, have not seen the movie, but I know what it is. I believe it was just one night where everyone could commit any act that they want and not get in trouble for it. Okay.
Yes.
Purge. I have one friend that tells me I'm a little vindictive because I do have a few people in my head that, were I to get in a room alone with them on purge night, might be kind of a fun night. But realistically, no, I'm glass half full. I'm not a violent person. I do speak about a lot of dark things because it's a dark world, but I believe it's from more of a female perspective than, a male perspective would have, potentially more aggression and more fights and more things like that they could write about. I don't have,
Hey, so I got a question for you. Another question. Do you talk to yourself? Because I do all the time.
Yeah. Sometimes out loud, sometimes not, but yes, I do.
Yeah. So that out loud, yeah, I'm like, yo, niggas be like, yo, who is he talking to? I'm talking to me.
And sometimes I'll try to just I'll just be sitting there on the couch and I'll just be like, I kind of try to make a piece up and I'll just start talking. And sometimes it works. Yes. It worked with Bird's Nest. That one I put up there.
It worked as Bird's Nest.
Bird's Nest. I can do one for you. All right. It's called Bird's Nest. This is a recent one, and this is kind of the vibe that I've been in, so I like it. Bird's Nest.
Okay.
I've loved you, naked, with the wind like blades across my skin. I've loved you, with mental bruises so blue and black that I feel invisible. I loved you silent, when you scream for me not to scream, and the gleam in your eyes is not green like mine. You drip tears so dark, they turn into tiny black holes. They spin and twist, sucking in memory, sucking me in to that deep part of your soul, past purgatory and past paranoia and love, to the place where there's only an empty bird's nest waiting to be filled with an egg. But my basket is empty, as is my heart. So I curl into a ball, letting the sticks and twigs poke into my skin, hoping you will feel me and believe that I'm a heart and come for me, longing and naked, lonely and just waiting.
Yeah, you fire. I ain't gonna
so
lie.
that was a little sexier one.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, you fire. I ain't gonna lie to you. You fire.
Hope that you a season I'm gonna hit hard, here lonely and waiting, naked too. Yeah, just something a little sexy on it. We listening to you, poet. You got a question?
I got questions.
Go for it. Give me some questions.
Hold on, give me a question. I want you to give me a question. I'm an open book. Remember to thank those who inspire you. I just want to repeat that.
Okay, I'm trying to think. You're totally putting me on the spot. Like, I don't know if I should ask like a poetry question or podcast question.
I'm not a poet. I'm just me. I'm BU. You see the name? He's the poet. Mr. is the poet. What do you
search for and look for in poetry? Do you like to read? Do you like to go to spoken word events? What are you seeking to get out of it?
I'm seeking. Damn, that's a good question. I gotta set up. Hold the fuck up. Hold up. I gotta set up. I was leaning back a little bit.
Should have made you sit up, B. Should have made you sit up, B.
Hey, I gotta set on business. Hold up. Hey.
You got to set on business, bro.
What I seek in poetry, not even just for. I'm gonna make it a broader thing. With art was, I love it. I love hearing it. I'm not saying I can do it. I love hearing it, and then it's like, it's therapy. Like it's therapy. People need to hear the stuff, like the stuff that you said today. People need to hear this. That's what I see. Like this is deep. It's deeper than what we can all think of it. So yeah, and then yeah, I'm listening. Keep asking me questions.
I was just gonna say, if you break down each piece, there's some core fundamental hurt that we all have in there, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, I have like that poem that I told you about being great, according to YouTube words, and I actually put that. Oh, that's actually in. It's in my book, and it's also in this anthology. And this is a charity anthology called Synonyms for Living that Sky Price did, that benefits this very large women's charity for abuse victims in the UK. So, you know, I write intensely personal, you know, and private and raw things, and it may be in a fantastical kind of way, but those are things that happen to everyone. You know, there's not a woman my age that I could ask right now, has anything ever happened to you? Yeah, this and this and this, right?
All right, so keep asking me questions. I'm ready.
Okay.
I like it. I like it.
Let me ask you a question.
Who's your favorite visual artist?
Visual artist. Right now, like, hold up. What do you mean visual? Like musical or like? Okay, Picasso. You know who I'm talking about, Tonio.
Picasso.
And I think you follow her.
I think he's talking about Queen Picasso.
Queen Picasso, yeah.
She's an artist that was on that.
That's my favorite right now.
Awesome. Well, Amy's probably one of my favorite artists.
Amy is dope. I like that painting.
She is such a good human too, and you know, I'd known her since high school. We were in art classes together. You know, we were senior year in high school. I only needed 2 English credits to graduate, so I just took 8 hours of art. So basically, I wandered the art hall. And she was, you know, AP art, the best artist in the school. Like, it was hands down, she was it. So when we would get into class, they would let us do whatever we want. There's a roll of paper across the floor, and we're painting on the floor. And, we got a new airbrush. No one can use it but Amy, you know. And we had such an amazing time just creating anything. And all the art teachers loved it because we were the ones that probably actually were going to be artists, whereas the rest of the class wasn't. And I've always stayed in touch with her, as I have a couple of art teachers. So I reached out and I'm like, I'm doing this book all on my own money. You know, I love your stuff. You know that. I need some chapter covers. Do you want to help? And she's like, yeah, here, which ones? Go to my website, pick 4, whichever you want. I'll send them to you. Like, I need to pay her nothing. She just take them, sent them. And I actually had some of her fans buy my book because her paintings were in it. But I thought that was just so great. And I try to do that for so many other people too, because, you know, I really value the artists that have collaborated with me, because I'm not, you know, paying them all this money to put their, you know, picture in my book. It's just, you know, we're kind of all at that hustling stage where we're going to help each other. And I love to collaborate. I want everything I do to be a collaboration. So if anyone asks me back for something too, I'll always do it for them, you know?
Right.
And it's, if you look at my stories on a normal day, you'll see in there I have like other people's posts and stuff that I do.
Yeah, that's what we
To
that's what we do
advertise.
as well. Yeah, as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking
So
of collaboration, who are some of the artists that you would love to collaborate with in the near future?
Right now, I would love to do a piece. See, I would love to do a piece with a musician that has a spoken word part to it. And there's
Right.
actually this musician, Rory. She's out of the UK. And she kind of started her career a little older too, but I relate to her a lot. And I would love to do a piece with her singing and then me doing some spoken word. That would be awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had some opportunities where I've talked to people about doing that, but the music just wasn't the right vibe
Yes.
to make it work, you know. But that would be totally cool. I mean, I've got my own album, so like whatever. But I'd like to be on someone else's song that might actually get listened to.
Yes. I mean, and it will.
But
We're speaking into it in existence.
let's see.
So,
Who else?
do you have any projects that you're excited about?
I'm doing so much. So I have to finish Pebbles and Hot Soup. That is a vampire graphic novel and poems. It is dark. You want dark? Do you want dark? Because I can give you dark from this book.
You can give us whatever you want.
I want dark. Yeah. I want dark.
Okay. Trying to get this out.
Because I need to play both sides now. I'm light. So,
Yeah,
I want dark.
I'll pick it while I'm talking to you. So definitely getting this book out is hugely important to me. And I definitely want to kind of have it to give it to Chicago and the different people that'll recognize things in it.
Yes.
Bats in the Rafters is my next full poetry collection that'll come out. I have 2 more albums to put out, the 3rd and 4th chapter of that book. And a new thing we're starting is actually doing events where I do that instant poetry reading. So that I haven't even had a chance to book any more shows yet.
I love the fact that like you can do poetry on the spot. As soon as we say it, you could like fucking do poetry. That's fire. And a lot of people can't do that.
I know. Well, a lot of people in spoken word, kind of some of their pieces have a lot of variables in it if they're longer. So they can kind of go and like change it and alter it as they go along. And they're cool.
Yeah.
If I screw something up, you can tell. Because something just doesn't make sense, right? So it's a little different. Okay. I'm looking for dark. I want to give you something. This is all 90s stuff. Humor me. Okay, this is pretty freaking dark. Okay. All right, ready?
Yeah. Hey, we've been ready.
And this was written when I was like maybe 20. This is for this graphic novel. It's called H Street, Not for Hospitals. It is nearly 4 a.m. and the stench of the underground pushes its way into the city of October. She spins her ankles around a metal stool frame tossed in the trash. Glancing through windows of people, the unbred and inbred crawl along the doorways of the Urchin Street community, breathing nicotine, skimming pennies off the pavement, fogging in sandalwood and cheap wine, hanging heavy in the air. And the scent of reality is approaching. Never shower on H. She exhales to the evening and pulls on the center of a fallen piece of bread. I am Gretel. She spits from his throat and turns her head to Hansel. I'm screwing this one up. Live in the night. Ugh, I forget this one. I'm screwing this one up. It's like all handwritten and half written. All right, that's not a good choice. Sorry, guys. Pretend we're editing this whole part out.
No, it's all good. Hey, no. This is organic.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
All good. It's organic.
Okay, this one I love. I don't know this one by heart yet, but it's called Through the Green Wood Gate We Broke. The sweat is still tasteable on pores as the discard boy carries her laundry basket out. She tightens her lips, hoping to be noticed, feeling hands freeze, shifting eyes, pulsing dry lips still in the dark. Kicking beer cans aside, recycling has a price to pay, or perhaps they were bottles. To the car in the company of others, dirty socks, dirty clothes piled high in the hatch, tossed, assume, perhaps, covered in what was left behind from staying up too late last night, only to come as if for the first time. The stale, dry air of the apartment, broken space heaters, torn cracks and ash, heavy doors scratched, lost and collected there. He came on her stomach, my stomach. It seems as if he tries to, pulling my pants to below my waist, caressing the dampening skin just above my thigh. And I wipe my hand through the stain, laughing as if for the first time. Still shaking from the lack of heat, not afraid that someone would hear it is too cold to get out of bed. But the laundry is done, and the tips of the unnoticed girl's fingers have thawed to reveal once perfect hands, now broken, healed, and disfigured. She always wondered why bad things happen to good people, or is it the other way around? Through crooked claws, she questions it. I need to work on that one a little.
No, you ain't gotta work on that. Hey, I done learned to snap. Hey, hold up. You don't taught me how to snap.
All right. It's still in a work in progress book, so I'm never gonna be happy until it's like done. And then I'm still never gonna be happy.
Listen, that was awesome. We are our own worst critic.
Probably, yes, I am. Because I've probably written 2,000 poems in the last 4 years, and there's several hundred online, and there's
hold on. I got to.
You heard of 2,000?
About 2,000. I had to stop you. I don't like cutting people off, but I had to stop. 2,000.
Yeah, easily.
Easily.
If you go to my YouTube, I got a spoken word playlist with 300 videos in it. That's just 300. I've got this entire book that I wrote, and then I've got stuff I write every day. I've got a lot like that Bird's Nest one I just read to you that isn't in a book yet. Just like, let's see, in the last couple weeks, this one, and this one.
Yeah, I'm on your YouTube. I studied you. I watched all of it.
Yeah. And there's so much unpublished that I just won't probably ever do anything with, like challenges that, like I did that. I'll be writing some poems challenge. I put that on there, and friends will give me songs or things to do pieces about, and those may never, make it onto a site.
Are you do you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
A strange combination of both.
Hey, you're just like me. I just said that shit. Yeah, I'm a social. What is it? Extrovert. I'm a social introvert.
Yeah,
it just depends. Yeah.
Yeah, in social situations, I tend to kind of, keep to myself and the group of people that I'm with. Yes. Even if it's in a place that I'm very familiar with, where I know a lot of people know me, because sometimes it's weird. And people can recognize you and you don't recognize them. And I hate that feeling, and I always try to make everyone feel known. So I tend to probably stay more quiet in those kind of scenarios.
Yeah, right.
I don't like to bring a lot of attention to myself unless I'm going to be performing. And if I am, because the coolest place I performed at was the Metro. I opened for the band, the French Police, at Nocturna, which is the nation's longest running goth dance party, and the Reader's Best dance party, every year.
That's dope.
So that was the coolest stage I was on, and I was so nervous, and I was too quiet when I did that one. But
so I got a question. You like rubbing your hair? You love your hair, huh?
Actually, I just took a shower right before you guys, so it's actually still wet. So
Oh,
this
okay.
is actually like just helping it dry. but actually, yeah, I do. That's if you talk to me for a long time, you notice that like I do, kind of tick a lot, in just normal life. I my body constantly has to be moving. Like
Right.
I constantly, if my mind isn't moving, if I'm not writing, if I'm not working, something needs to be
I'm the same way. I get
going.
it.
Like the engine's still going, so it ends up being in things like that.
Oh yeah, you gotta definitely stay in touch with me and Mister. Yeah, you gotta stay in
Absolutely.
touch with us, and
Yeah.
and this is not our last podcast. We keep going. We like growth. We want to see growth, and then we do another one, and another one, and another one. And then we're gonna keep up with you. We're gonna watch you, and then whatever you're doing, we're gonna promote you as well. So that's what I like.
Awesome.
That's our plan.
Appreciate that. I can go out on one I think you'll like.
All right.
Unsettling the table.
Yeah.
My story has played out quite like the chaos of thunder, taking handfuls of silverware and throwing them into the car engine, just to turn it on while it rattles and clanks viciously. Inside is the utter accustomed chaos, but from outside lulls rhythmic metallic drum beats that echo in the storm rain. We fool ourselves into thinking it's nothing but music, until the steam starts to hiss and the flatware burns chestnut. This machine was not designed to exist in extraordinary chaos, but it seems that I was.
Hey,
But
how's she doing so short?
Huh?
How's she doing so short? Like what the fuck? How's she make a like the like you make a point so short? Like it's like I don't know. I ain't seen it before.
If I write longer, I tend to like those pieces less because there end up inevitably being too many repetitive things in it
Yeah.
that I have to refer to, and I like to get to the point.
Yeah.
But my stuff is not as short as most Insta poetry is, where it's like 2 lines.
Yeah.
right.
I love you. Why am I so hard to love? The end. Like that's a greeting card.
Right.
So it's never going to be that short.
I mean, actually,
I'll let the poet talk. Yeah, I'm gonna let the poet talk.
look, we asked everyone that come on, and thank you for being here with us today. You've
Totally.
been with us for almost 2 hours now, so we appreciate you giving us your time. But we asked every artist that come on, what does art for change mean for you when you hear that? Being that this is Art for Change podcast.
I think that, like we talked about, art. I came from the pain side. You came from the love side, right? So love and pain next to each other is what creates all art. So it comes from our strongest emotions. And what I try to do is to pick up on a lot of the experiences that a lot of people have that they don't want to share or don't write about, but that they can relate to. And just having someone understand you or tell you a story or show you a piece of art that relates to them could change their outlook on things, or it could change their situation. It could change their mind on something. And it doesn't matter what kind of art it is. It could be 2D art, it could be sculpture, it could be music, it could be anything. I'm goth, but I don't only listen to goth music. My favorite musician is pop punk artist.
Exactly.
So it's whatever hits you, and it will change you if it's meant for you. And I hope my writing helps and affects people. I've heard some stories along the way, but
Yeah, I get it.
I love it.
All right, so I need you to send because certain interviews we send people our merch, and I love this interview. I need you to text me and Mister in our group chat your address, and we're gonna send you some merch. Big
I'll
Rock,
say,
Big Rock, if you're on here, get with me, and then we're gonna send her some merch.
I
And
will.
it's gonna be black. It's gonna
Hmm.
be black. Yeah, it's gonna be black. You know.
I'll send you some books.
I'll send you
The
my
o-
address. I'll send you my address too in our group chat as well. And then
um,
we're gonna promote you consistently. Like that's what we're gonna do.
I have a few little like hand like buttons and things kind of merch that I do. When I launched my book, I had a full clothing line that
Yeah.
still is in my shop to an extent, but I don't know if that's ever going to be anything. So I'll see if I have any shirts or something, but I'll send you guys something for sure.
Yes, awesome. Matt had a Marshall had a statement before we close out. He says, "If misery is dimming, why does it produce so much light?" Yeah.
If misery is dimming, why does it produce so much light? Okay. Well, if the misery is the pain that you feel and it causes you to be in that dark place, if you find a piece of light, it's going to seem expansively bigger than the darkness that you're in. And maybe that light has to come after that period of misery.
Yes.
I don't know. It's philosophical. I did my best.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Any closing statements for the people before we get up out of here?
I want to shout out your social medias and any shout outs you gotta give.
I am at Kaytee Thrun, spelled like that, on every site, except for Facebook. It has LLC after it. Facebook. I'm most up to date on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. That's what I mostly use. And I don't have any shows booked right now, but I will have multiple shows posted throughout the year. And you can get my books from me, autographed with goodies, or any bookseller. You can stream my albums right now on any streaming platform. Yeah, but at Kaytee Thrun, it's definitely nobody else because nobody else has this name. So, right, where is it? Right here, right there. Like, just spell that as one word. You'll always find me.
And then what about the authors that you wanted to post? Send us those, and then we'll post those too. The
Absolutely.
authors of the books that you showed us.
Oh yeah, okay, absolutely.
So send us those.
I've only been, the only other books I've been in besides my own are charity anthologies. So now I'm doing a charity anthology. So, you know, I'm very selective with where I kind of put my stuff out there. You know.
Yeah, but we'll promote you, and then you know. Hey, this is very interesting.
This was a very good one. And you are welcome anytime that you want to broadcast or promote or event. You come on Offer Change. Your ladies that you touring with, let them come on with you, and we'd love to have you anytime that you want to bring anything you got anything to discuss. Absolutely.
Yeah,
man.
let's do that and everything. And there's some other artists that I'd like to introduce you to. Just
let's get that. And then so your website is called the Poetica.
The Poetica,
right? So
thepoetica.com.
Can you spell it out?
Poetica. It's just thepoetica.com. I do need to update from our last show, but the rest of the content is available. It tells you what we can do, what shows we can perform, you know, how to get in touch with us for events, things like that. My site, kayteethrun.com, is more just a landing page for who I am. Here's my books. Here's pictures if you need them of me for an article or whatever. You know, here's, you know, just some basic information and links, because it's weird. Like in 2025, not everybody has like a website. There's too many different places you got to be on to accomplish different things. So yeah, my website, Instagram, my link tree, YouTube.
Hey, I just want to say before we get off, hey, you fire. So
thank you.
I fucks with you. You fire. Yeah, you part of the team. You fire. I like it.
I am. Okay, you know what you're gonna make me do now.
Yeah. Well, all right, here we go.
Okay,
All
hang
right,
on.
let's
I
get it.
do. Again, this is unfortunately one I do not know by heart. However, um, I wrote it for Faith Rice. You need to see this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Faith is
yeah.
in my. She's in my trio, and this was the party where she was graduating. She got her doctorate. So
Hell yeah.
everyone went up and kind of said something, and I'm in a room full of poets. And I'm like, why is nobody doing a poem? Like, all right, fine. So I had written a poem about her when she graduated. And so I did that one. So her book is called She Dragon. Remember that.
She dragon.
She Dragon, the maester of dragons. She rose from the orange red flames that exhaled from the dragon's scarred lungs. She's the dragon, a conjurer of miracles, a conqueror of lands and teller of stories, the keeper of dragons and secrets told. She spills those words on old parchment paper coughed from her lips. Each breath exhales with a hint of smoke, and the page slowly fills with her syllables, each one a droplet of tiny fire burning holes microscopic into this document which proclaims her maester status. The learned one, the scholar, the storyteller, and sometimes still, on dark nights she will. When someone questions her power, she will spit out a bit of fire. Don't tempt the dragon. She never, ever loses a fight. Not when her power comes from dragon fire and lightning.
This is what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, yo, it's powerful and it's short. This is what the hell I'm talking about right now.
So that's what I got when I got up to say a few words for her at her dinner. I just read the poem instead because I had written it for her.
She had tears. I know it.
She gave me a hug. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that was powerful. Man, you a dope, man.
So
It's been
all right, but hold on. I ain't even done yet. I got one more question. So before we end, and then after my question, you can end it, Mister. All right. So, do you feel like your words are powerful? Like, because you keep. What I see is people prolong so much shit. Like they prolong their poems, and it's not a bad thing. So, do you think like you use so much powerful words that you can make it short?
I don't honestly know the reason why I write the length I do, but no matter when I sit down to write, it is somewhere between, 30 seconds and 2.5 minutes, averaging about a minute and a half, always. And I don't plan that. It just kind of comes out that way. I mean, I have some like 2 and 3 page pieces. I have a more difficult time memorizing them to do them spoken word. Because I do feel like in some of the longer pieces, you get that repetitiveness and filler. And I want the bang. And that's why the last line is really important to me too. So.
Yeah, because that hit me different. Like, I'm like, yo, I had to look to the side a little bit, hold on, Yeah, but
I have like two short ones in the book, but everything else is like a page long, at least like a minute long.
Yeah. Okay, I get it.
So when I do a spoken word event, I get to kind of curate a set. Say I've got 15 minutes, right? I could do a number of pieces that kind of tell one whole story, and I like that. So when I did the one at Tangible Books, it was like 8 pieces I did on kind of vague Alice in Wonderland references. Which I love. So,
which I love. I love that.
You got to stay in touch with us because
Absolutely.
you're dope. You're dope. I think you're probably one of our most interesting artists that came on. Like just because it's different, and I like that. I like different, and the energy was always good too. Even though you're different, the energy is like great.
Well, no one quite knows where to put me because when I launched this last book, most of my friends were musicians, so I launched it like a rock star. I had merch, I had bundles, I had shirts, I had stickers, I had all this stuff, and I kind of launched it like that, and it worked, because obviously there's some truth to that. So my delivery of it is different from even the sales point,
Mm-hmm.
Right. Absolutely.
Mr. End us out.
They close us out.
Yeah,
Any
close it
closing
out.
statements? All right. Any closing statements for the people? Any advice for the people before we get up out of here, Miss Kaytee?
I got to close this statement. Hey, I was nervous about this, but hey, she had me on my edge, and she's different, and this is exactly what we needed, actually. Like, she's fired. Like, I want to do more interviews with her. Actually, I want to watch her growth, and I want to continue to watch her growth, and I want us to continue to work with her as well. And we're gonna do that. That's what we're gonna do.
I definitely want my girls to be on, but like, if you have say one day you want some beat poets, I got 2 beat poets you get on. Like, all right.
I want to do one Friday. Let's set up something for Friday. Anybody?
Yeah, or
you need artists that know Miss Kaytee is welcome on our For Shame podcast.
We do anybody. So let's talk through text tomorrow, group chat, and then let's set up something for this weekend, Friday or whatever, And then
I can't say they're going to be as entertaining as me, but no, I'm kidding.
No, hey, you fired. I ain't gonna lie, you fired. Nah, but I'll bring it out of them. It gets easy once I get started. It gets easy. So, and then Mr. He's right there too. So yeah. You got any closing statements?
Thank you for having me. I know that I am different, which I love.
I love it.
But I think when it comes to poetry, I surprise people. That's the first thing that I do is I surprise them. And I like that. They don't necessarily see me coming. They think I'm going to get up and do some goth, sad vampire poetry or something. And that's not what I do, right? I know it's stereotypical, but it's true. Bats.
Hey, that's what I thought. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie to you.
The bats are flying in the cemetery tonight. Ooh, I am shivering in fright. Okay, but no, I don't do that. So I'm unexpected, and I did like that metal show I did at Underground, and I had to kind of curate harder pieces for that. I have done wedding type events or softer events where I've had to kind of curate a little bit of a different stuff for that, but it still all sounds like me. And people don't look at me and see like, oh, she's a poet. I bet she can write. They have totally different thoughts about who I might be. And then I, did this when I did the street poetry on Christmas, people were like, and keep this? Like, yeah. It's like,
yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. I love the way that art has a way to affect people, and that's one major reason why we created Art for Change. So that's awesome.
I think that a lot can happen in Chicago. There's, like I said, various disparate poetry groups. And I kind of have a hand in all of them, and depending on what part of the city you're in. And I just, I hopefully foresee, whether it's through Eros or Geronimo or like whomever, kind of takes a lead on it in like bringing more of all those disparate groups together for larger shows, and, there's been some big ones, like they just did WAN poetry, which is cool. So I got to go to that, but just integrating all of the different Chicago poets, because there's very different styles, and I don't know. I wish we had something like the Poetry Society of New York is great. We need something in Chicago that is really focused on cultivating and developing just the art of poetry, however it is, throughout the city.
See, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make it global, not just New York, not just Chicago. We're gonna make it global.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I
And
can't tell
everybody
you.
we interview, hey, y'all helping us, and then
Yeah.
we're gonna stay in touch with y'all. We're gonna
And,
repost your stuff.
and shouts
Well,
out to Chicago because y'all have some very good artists out in Chicago. So
Yes.
Yeah.
that's a big
Yeah,
poetry hub in Chicago. You know, a lot of poets out there that's making waves. So
Yes.
hats off to all of you poets out there that way. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Jay Ivy's from Chicago, and I mean, he was he was fighting for a Grammy category for spoken word for years, and finally got one approved, and then he won it for the first 2 years, of course. But congratulations, well deserved. So he's from Chicago, so he kind of pushed out and did something good. But there's a lot of people here that I think could be more if we can get those stage sizes up, those streams bigger. The audience is larger.
It's all about promotion.
Yeah, and if we work together, because it's kind of like a
Exactly.
comedy show. You go to a comedy show, you might hate one poem and or hate one comedian and like the other three. If you go to like some type of poetry feature and there's like 6 poets, if you hate 4, who cares? You loved 2.
Yes.
That's the point.
I agree.
That's the point, and I think that's what the platforms are created for. And I want to create other spaces so that we can have larger platforms for more artists to be able to have somewhere to showcase their talent.
I like that. I like any opportunity to meet more people to possibly collaborate on something in the future. That's definitely something I love to do. So thank you so much for having me on, guys. You're great. This was fun.
I told you it was gonna be fun. I know you was probably nervous at first. You was nervous.
Nah. Well, it's because I was running late. My hair was wet. I just got out of the shower. I was like, I gotta get it. It's like, give me a minute, because like I wasn't like ready. So that's what that was. It wasn't like nerve, but like it took me a second to get in the groove. But as far as like unedited, here we go. That's great.
Hey, I edited it. I love it.
It's live, it's raw, it's authentic, and we did a hell of a good job, had a hell of a good show. I think so, and I think our listeners will have to agree with us.
This was a great show, actually. Yeah.
Thank you.
Man, as always, like and subscribe, hit that bell, and most importantly, man, keep art for change. Peace and love, everybody.
Peace.